Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? I'm kind of tired this evening. I tried to lay down and take a nap, and I just couldn't fall asleep to save my life. So, I couldn't fall asleep to save my life. So I finally just got up. I was like, well, I'm done laying here. There's no reason if I can't fall asleep. Do you ever like lay down and you're like so wanting to fall asleep or take a nap? It typically happens to me in the morning. When I lay down and take a nap, I fall asleep really quick. But tonight, for some reason, I just couldn't. But when I go to bed in the mornings, typically, or, you know, when I'm done with it, when I go to bed during your morning, but my going to sleep at night, I just like toss and turn forever. So, I don't know. I had a cup of coffee this morning, and then I had, what is in there? I had a cup of coffee, and then I had 2 Diet Cokes. I'm thinking that might have been it. Maybe I had too much caffeine today, I don't know, but I'm thirsty, so I'm gonna have, how you doing Thursday? I'm Friday. So I'm gonna have a Diet Coke. Just poured it right here. When I bought all of these new plastic cups, my husband was like, we don't have any, my husband, like you don't know who he is, Alex was like, we don't have any room for all these new plastic cups. You're gonna have to like get rid of some of the old like glasses and stuff that we have. Which we did have room for it, but he just wanted to throw out some of the old stuff. And the reality is we didn't really need all of it because we don't use a lot of these glasses. Some of the glasses are even like leftover from when my mom was alive. And some of them have sentimental value and I will never throw them away. But, you know, I mean, maybe someday I will. But others are like glasses that I never use and he never uses. So he like brought down all of the glasses that he never uses, and then I went through and I threw a bunch of them out. So we put all of the plastic glasses that I got, because I got like a set of 8 and then 2 more. I got like 12 or 14 altogether plastic cups. Well, they're every single one except for this one and one more. So I guess that would be 12 are in the dishwasher right now being cleaned. Because we've used so many of them. I was like, oh, guess I'm gonna have to order some more plastic glasses. Actually, I was looking on like Crate and Barrel, Williams-Sonoma. There were a couple other websites that had really, really nice, they're called acrylic, like the really nice ones are called acrylic tumblers. So, how are you guys doing? I am doing fantastic. I really didn't do a whole lot today. I just laid around the house and relaxed, and it was really nice. Alex went to the grocery store. I didn't really need anything. So I was like, if I need to go, if I need to order something, I'll just order it like in a day or two, but I didn't really need anything. So he went and he got potatoes. He said to me, he goes, I'm sick of like eating like we're going like in a fast food restaurant every night, because he's like, you know, warming stuff up and whatever. And I said, okay. He's on this cooking kick. He's like really enjoying cooking. So he got potatoes and avocados and cheese and all. He's gonna make all this stuff, right? So for dinner tonight, he made like this avocado dip. I don't know, it was this whole ordeal that he made. Well, it was early afternoon, because it was like when he got back from the store, he like made this with like eggs, and it was like some brunch. It was kind of like his Cuban breakfast thing that he gets when we go to Cafe Patachou. I feel like we haven't been there in forever. We haven't been there in forever. But he like mixed in like avocado and hot sauce and all this kind of stuff. Well, he always puts hot sauce on it. But anyway, so I said something to him about, like, I'm almost out of my, I said, that is one thing, because he had asked me if I needed anything from Costco. And I said, I wish I would have had you pick me up some of those peanut butter bites, because I'm almost out of them. And he goes, yeah, I'm tired of having all that crap around the house. I go, or something like that. And I go, and he started laughing, and I go, what do you mean, all this crap around the house? I go, you don't even, those aren't even for you. Like, you don't eat, he hates peanut butter. And he's like, we just have all this crap around the house. There's always like cookies and chips. And I go, well, first of all, I go, not until we were like on lockdown, because before that, we never had any food in our house whatsoever. And he was like, yeah, that's right. So he was like, well, I'm eating healthier from now on. And I go, okay. I said, as of May 1st, I'm going to start eating healthier too. But I said, I kind of had already set that in my mind. And right now, I'm not going to beat myself up about it. And he goes, okay. So he was on this phone call, like this FaceTime in the kitchen with his friend that lives in Miami. And so they like were talking forever, and then I said hi to her, and I sat down and talked to her for a couple minutes. And so anyway, I was like making my dinner, and I made a cheese sandwich, and what else did I have? My peanut butter things, and and then I had I had like 4 pieces of Baby Bell cheese, because he did get me some more of that. And then I made a poppy seed and almond muffin with butter on it afterwards. I don't love those muffins. I would not probably buy those again. It's the almond in it. I don't like the almond in it. I'm not a big almond fan anyway, but I don't like the almonds in all of this. I just thought back to like that first grocery store trip that Tanya and I went to Meijer, like when we thought we weren't gonna be able to go to the groceries, and the grocery stores were gonna just be like no food anymore and stuff. And I bought like 4 packages of nuts, and I was like, well, I guess if we have to live on something, we can live on nuts. And like those nuts haven't even been opened, and they're in the closet. But anyway, so I went upstairs, and I was like laying down, and I heard him like, I could like, you know, like you can like kind of like piece together in your head when you hear somebody what they're doing. I could hear like the aluminum foil, and then I could hear like the oven opening and stuff, and I was like, what is he cooking down there? So I waited until it was all done, and he was like sitting there, and he was eating. He was watching Will and Grace, and he was eating. And so like 10 minutes after that, I like got up and I said, were you cooking in the kitchen? And he goes, yeah. And I go, what did you make? And he didn't say anything. And I go, what did you make? I said, it smells delicious. And he goes, pizza rolls. And I go, oh, pizza rolls, those are so healthy. He started laughing. He was like, shut up. He was like, I was hungry for pizza rolls. So anyway, yeah. We got laughing so hard over that. Our friend was telling us that she, like, we were talking about, like, you know, like, just, like, attitudes about all of everything that's going on. And she was like, oh, because her boyfriend, like, goes to the grocery store for them. And she's like, when he comes in, she's like, I have a hamper by the door that he has to put his clothes in. They live in, like, a high-rise. And I have a hamper by the door that he has to put his clothes in. And then the trash can where he has to throw like his mask and his gloves away, and then he has to go right in and take a shower and like leave everything by the door, and then I like wipe everything down. And Alex was like, well, that's a lot or something. And I was like, I know a lot of people that are doing that kind of stuff. I know a lot of people that are, you know, doing that. So I have the heat on. I don't know why. I don't know why I have that light on. Because it says it's 54, so you know that probably means if I look at the temperature, it's 9 degrees below that. So that means it is, let's see, what it says. Oh, it says 52. Huh. Tomorrow, 66. All right. And only 10% chance of rain. I can handle that. Hey, Kelly, can you handle that? Beyonce, can you handle that? I don't know if you can handle that. But it is kind of toasty in here. Okay, I started a new audiobook. I don't know if I talked about this last night or not. So I think I might have talked a little bit about it. I read probably a year ago or something. There's a writer named Grady Hendrix. He's actually written quite a few books. And I read a book of his called My Best Friend's Exorcism, and it was really, really good. And it was totally different than anything that I ever, like, expected it was going to be. I don't know. It was so much better. And, by the way, I've officially read 32 books this year. I'm so proud of myself. But, so the book was really good. And it took place, like, in 1990, I think. And 1989 or 1990, and it was about this girl, like these two girlfriends, and they were like at this party. Something happened, and one of them like supposedly got like possessed. And anyway, you should read it if you like that kind of stuff. But the thing that made the book so fantastic was all of the pop cultural references, because all of the whole book was like referencing like 1990 in that era. So that was the year I graduated from high school. It was like 89, 88, or 90. It was like somewhere in there. But I knew like every pop culture reference, from like the food to, like there was something in there that they used. It was like A-Team cereal or something. It was like all of these pop cultural references were like surreal. Like he researched it so well. And I think he's like my age. But anyway, he came out with a book, and it's called The Southern, oh shoot. Let me pull it up. The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I didn't even have to look it up. But anyway, it's brand new. It literally just came out this week, I think. This week or last week. And it's about the same neighborhood. And, but it's like 3 years later. But he said he wanted to, like, in the intro, he said he wanted to, like, write a book. Like, we talk a lot about, like, what happens to, like, the kids and, like, these, like, horror movie kind of things, but we never talk about, like, what happens to the parents, you know? And so he wanted to write a book that was, like, the parents affected instead of the kids. And so it's about this group of women in, like, close to, like, Charleston, South Carolina, that, it's Charleston, South Carolina, not it's South Carolina, yeah. And they're, like, in this book club, but that's not really a book club, but it is. And they become close friends. And this vampire, like, infiltrates their group. It's so interesting. And it just, like, for, like, the first, like, I'm listening to it. So, of course, like, the first hour was just, like, the buildup of it. And Bonnie Turpin, who is hands down my favorite narrator on Audible, she narrated The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, which I love that book so much. So much better than the movie. The movie was good too, but the book was so good. And she narrated Colson Whitehead's Underground Railroad. She's narrated like probably 3 or 4 books that I've listened to that were just phenomenal. She's such a great like narrator. The thing is, when you listen to a lot of these books on Audible, if you're an Audible person like me, like an Audible junkie, you'll know, like, the narrator can literally make or break a book. Like, in all honesty, they really can. And and it's funny because sometimes, like, I'll listen to a book and I'll be like, I know this narrator. Like, I know her from something else, or I know him from something else, and then I'll, like, look, and he, like, narrated, like, 3 books that I've listened to before. But anyway, her name's Bonnie, and it's B-A-H-N-I. She's Turpin, and T-U-R-P-I-N. She's fantastic. Every book that she's ever narrated is so good. So anyway, it's just really interesting reading this book. It's, like, nothing that I've ever read before. And of course, like, it takes place in 1993, and, like, the pop cultural references of that time and era are, like spot on. Like, he's just brilliant how he weaves that through, and then the characters are so unique and just, like, articulately written, and it's just a really enjoyable read, but it just started getting kind of scary. It's weird, because they're, like, scary books, but, like, imagine a horror novel that took place, like a horror movie that took place during the daytime. Like, you'd be scared, but it's also, like, weird because it takes place in the middle of the afternoon. Do you know what I mean? It kind of feels like that. It's like, it's unsettling. It's probably the word I would use. Yeah, I'm not very far into it. I'm like 2 hours, I think an hour and a half, 2 hours into it. It's really good, though. I can't wait to listen to more of it. Did I say that I finally got my House of Leaves book? So House of Leaves is the book that Dane, I think, brought up. Yeah, it was Dane, because she sent me a message on Instagram too. She mentioned in a comment, well, I had never heard of this book before. And apparently this book came out, I think this is the 20-year anniversary, the 10 or the 20-year anniversary of it. And I think it's 20 years. It first circulated in like this underground kind of like zine deal where like pieces of the book were like, you know, passed around, blah, 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 whatever. And then the writer made it into a book, and it was his debut novel. I read this article, I can't remember what magazine it was in. I think it was The Guardian. I just looked it up, The House of Leaves online. It was an article actually from April this year. And it was this guy that had read it and had like changed his life. And it said that it dealt a lot with like grief and loss and like acceptance of things you can't change. And the book is about this guy that moves into this house, and he finds out that the house is 1 inch larger on the inside than on the outside, or something like that. And it's like written like on the, if you like, when you look at it, it's really like aesthetically cool to look at. I know that sounds kind of funny to say that, but that's the only way I know how to describe it. Visually, it's very cool because it's like written up and down and then like splotch. It's the most bizarre book I've ever seen looking at inside, like the inside of it. And in this art, it apparently has a character that's blind because somebody asked him something about like, can you listen to it as an audible, like an audiobook? And I thought this was really interesting in the discussion of audiobooks. Because there was actually, like, they interviewed, like, a huge fan of the book. Apparently has this Facebook group that has, like, over 7,000 people on it or something. So, like, there's this whole cult following behind this book, And, so they interviewed this guy that was blind, and he said he listened to the audio version, and he said it was really hard to, like, get anything from the audio version. But then he read it in Braille, and he said what was interesting about it was that the author, his name's Daniel something, his last name's really long, I don't know how to pronounce it, so the guy said that most authors explain things only, like, in visual details, right? And that he was the first author that used all 5 senses to describe things, and that for him, like, he could grasp the entirety of the novel because that he used a lot of like sound and like other kinds of things, you know, like other senses to describe things that were happening in the book. And he was like, most authors don't do that. And I thought that was such an interesting perspective. I never thought of that before, you know. And so anyway, I'm really excited about starting that book. It's literally about this thick. And then coming in May, the book club is doing an entire month dedicated to Eileen Wuornos. I also have another book on the way. I bought Dear Dawn, which is all of Eileen Wuornos' letters to her best friend Dawn. And the book is like 600 pages or something. So I'm gonna piece that together. And then it's interesting because in the book that I'm listening to, their book club, they do like a true crime book, and then they do a book of fiction. A true crime book, and then a book of fiction. And so they were reading Helter Skelter. Like, one of the whole chapters is just called Helter Skelter. They're talking about Helter Skelter in it. And it made me like want to go back and like listen to Helter Skelter, which I started last year. I have tried to read Helter Skelter. I mean, to tell you, I'm probably going on like my 8th year at this point or something. It's ridiculous. Ever since I've been on BookTube, I've tried to read it every summer. And I have a really hard time getting into it. It's really dry, first of all. But then, like, when I used to sit outside and read it in the summer, like, I would get really scared. Like, it was, like, and at that time, I only made it to, like, 51 pages or 81 pages or something. And then I started listening to it the following summer. I was like, I'm going to finish this. That's when I said I was going to do it as, like, this extra credit project and finish it by Labor Day. And I just couldn't get through it. I could not get through it. And then I said I was going to listen to it on Audible, and the Audible version is, like, 32 hours or something. And I was like, I can't get through that either. It's just, it's a lot, you know? This would actually probably be a good time to listen to it, but it's just so boring and so dry, in all honesty. I don't even know if I care if I ever read it. But I kind of feel like I should, you know, like, because of true crime and whatever, but... Now, I've talked to other people that are like, they love the book. So, and I've talked to a lot of people that say, I don't think Mel and I have talked about it. She's read it. She said she didn't like it. So... yeah. So I started listening to that book last night. Today, I literally did nothing today. I got up so late today. And Alex was like cooking in the kitchen when I got up. He like woke me up and he was like, I'm going to the store. And I was like, okay. And then he came home and he like, you know, took care of all the stuff and wiped it down and all that stuff. And then he was cooking in the kitchen and I was getting up. It was so incredibly late. I could not fall asleep last night to save my life. I just could not. I just tossed and turned and tossed and turned and tossed and turned last night. I don't know what it was. And then I finally got kind of going today at like 5:30 or something. It was late. It was like, made my coffee and uploaded the vlog, and I didn't get out of bed at 5:30. I got out of bed, I mean, in all honesty, I got out of bed at like 3:30 or 4. I don't even know why I slept so late today. I just couldn't go to sleep last night at all. I remember getting up to like go to the bathroom, and I like looked at the clock as I was like walking into the bathroom, and it said like 9:34, and I hadn't fallen asleep yet. And I literally tossed and turned, tossed and turned, and tossed and turned, and tossed and turned, and tossed and turned. And so I hadn't even fallen asleep by 9:30. Like sometimes, like, I was hot last night in bed too. It was like real hot in bed, in our bedroom last night. I was gonna open the window, but it felt kind of cool outside. Like when I got done listening to my audiobook, and I was like, oh, I don't know. It sometimes can like get cool in our bedroom really quick. And then I was like, Alex's allergies, I don't want it to be, because his allergies are worse than mine. So usually, like, if I'm going to open the windows to sleep, I'll be like, do you care if I, like, because he'll, like, you know, take allergy medicine before he goes to bed or whatever. And I hadn't. So, I don't know what it was, but I slept late today and got up, and I was like, I'm kind of, like, posting videos one day and then, like, not the next. And then I will tell you, as of May 1st, I am going to be back to posting videos on all of my channels every single day. This has been actually a really, really good month for me to kind of take some time and just relax. And, you know, like, in May, Alex will probably be going back to work at some point, hopefully. So this has been nice to just kind of be at home with Alex and stuff. And, you know, I've still wanted to continue to, like, keep up posting pretty regularly. So, and with the drama stuff, it's like, I know I wanted to do something really fun yesterday, which is why I did, like, the onion chip mukbang. And, like, whenever I try a video like that, it's like, I mean, I'm not stupid. I know it's not going to get 1 million views on it, you know? But it's either, like, received well or people... And, like, I can never really tell from the comments, because, like, the people that don't like it are just like, okay, this is weird, I'm done with it, you know what I mean? So I can never really tell. So anyway, because I was going to do, like, another fun kind of, like, video today, and then I thought, you know what, like, I think maybe doing 2 kinds of videos like that in a row on that channel will be very confusing to people. So then by that point, I was like, oh, Alex was eating his, and then he was eating his stuff and watching TV, and it was raining outside, and so I couldn't film outside. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna take a day and enjoy myself today. So I did, and then tonight, I don't even know what I did this afternoon. I only talked to 2 people today. I talked to Tanya, and I talked to my other friend, like another friend of mine that's sober. And then I made dinner, and I sat there and I watched, that's what I did. I watched that whole documentary, Circus of Books. It was very interesting. It wasn't what I thought it would be. So it's about a porn store, is basically what it is, in Los Angeles, in West Hollywood off Santa Monica Boulevard. And it starts out, so the girl that's the documentarian in it, it's her parents owned the bookstore. And, like, as you start watching it, what you realize is it's about the fact that this bookstore has been around for 33 years and it's closing down. Like so that's kind of like the whole documentary, how it goes, you know, start to finish. But at the beginning, I really thought, well, it kind of talks about them as a family, but then it goes into like having all these people talk about how it was basically like the epicenter in the early days of like gay men meeting. And I really thought it was going to be a lot about that. And it wasn't really whatsoever. It was really about how this family, and this woman was like, so they're Jewish, and she's like a woman of very strong faith. She goes to synagogue all the time. Her husband, he's not like a spiritual person. And, but he's Jewish too. And how it talks about how they got into this business and who's kind of like, it's really kind of the story of the mother, honestly. And it's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. And, like, I don't want to, well, yeah, I don't want to ruin it for anybody. It literally just came out on, but there's, like, things that happen throughout the documentary that it's, like, it's not like this earth-shattering documentary. It's very simple, but it's beautiful. It really, really is beautiful. And it's really about a mother's coming to terms with who she is as a person in this crazy world. And it's very, very beautiful. And it's also like it's interesting, like the separation of like, they run this business, but then like, like there's this one scene, this won't ruin it for you, but she goes basically to like this conference for like porn stuff, like lube, magazines, you know, like toys and things like that. And her daughter asks her, what kind of stuff can you look at and you know right away would do really well in the store? And it's like this whole wall of toys, like rubber toys, you know what I mean? So anyway, and she's like, these would be, and she won't look at it. And she's like, but I don't like to look at that stuff. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it. And it's like, you run this store, and and she's not a prude. It's just really interesting. And, but there's a very personal aspect to it at the end, and that literally had me just like kind of like bawling. It was just like the turnaround was just kind of really beautiful. It was done very well. Alaska, RuPaul's Drag Race, the only reason that she's in it is because he used to work at the store, like back in the day. He was like an employee. So they kind of interview him about some of the different stuff. Very cool. It was a cool documentary. And it was kind of nice because it wasn't like one of those documentaries that's like super deep and like, sometimes I don't like to watch stuff, you know, it's like, I think that's why I'm like really enjoying Schitt's Creek right now, because it's like, it's not super, super deep, and it's just like, you know, I don't have to be super committed to it. I can just kind of like read it and, you know, watch it and enjoy it. And it's very endearing, like I've said. I really, really like it. I think I'm starting to slow down on it, because like tonight I was going to watch it while I ate. And I was like, no, I want to watch this documentary first. And I was like, I think I'm kind of slowing down on it, because I'm kind of afraid that I'm going to get to the end. Like, I'm third season, like 5th or 6th episode. And then I don't have, you know, then it's over, so. But of course there will be something else to watch. This video has continued to come up on my suggested, probably because I've looked up everything about this movie, because I love this documentary. But this video has come up over and over and over and over and over again on my suggested. And it's like, what happened to all of the people, like, after. It's by Tribe TV. I don't know if that's a station or not. I only have like a minute left until it stops, the battery stops. Or not the battery, but the timer thing. And I only have one battery. My other battery is inside charging, and the other one's dead, because of course I did nothing today, and I didn't even charge my batteries. I like just put the one in from the camera last night, so that was the only one I charged. So years and years, I think it was when it first came out, Paris is Burning. I went and saw it, in a movie theater. I feel like I saw it at this place called the Castleton Arts Movie Theater, and I went with like a friend of mine. I need to see what year it came out. Do you guys know what Paris is Burning is? Okay, I'll explain it in just a second if you haven't. What year did it come out? Pulled up Paris is Burning. Where am I? It's gonna stop. Hold on a second. Okay. I wasn't gonna make that mistake again. Is it recording? Okay. Let's see. It's pulling up the Wikipedia. Paris is Burning. 1990, so it was the year I graduated. I feel like I saw it like that summer or fall. Yep, release date, September 13th, 1990. Oh, but it says like in New York City, 1991. So maybe it was the following year, and I saw it at like, I don't know, some like gay, I feel like I saw it at like a gay film festival or something like that. But anyway, here, I'll just read it to you if you haven't, if you don't know anything about it. Paris is Burning is a 1990 American documentary film directed by, Paris is Burning is a 1990 American documentary film directed by Jenny Livingston, filmed in the mid to late 1980s. It chronicles the ball culture of New York City and the African American, Latino, gay, and transgender communities involved in it. Critics consider the film to be an invaluable documentary of the end of the golden age of New York City drag balls and a thoughtful exploration of race, class, gender, and sexuality in America. Well, what's really interesting about this is if you know a lot about this stuff, the balls in New York City are still going on to this day. They're still thriving, and they're a huge deal to this day. So that's interesting. The other thing is the cast in the movie afterwards felt like this Jenny Livingston, this director, who has been like kind of iconicized through the years as being this, you know, like short, I mean, like a lot of the people when they interview, they're like, she was like this white woman that came in to, you know, the ball culture, and we welcomed her with open arms, and then basically she exploited us. They feel like she exploited them, and that when like the film was like, I just watched all these interviews from the people that were in it last night. They said that like when the film was what do you call it, interestingly enough, they blamed it, I think, on like the Gay Men's Health Crisis Center. If you've never like seen the movies about that, I can't remember what the movie is with Julia Roberts. It's really good. It's about the beginning of the Gay Men's Health Crisis Center. But anyway, I don't know how they would have been involved in that. But this one guy was like, she came in and we welcomed her, and everybody loved her, and they were so nice to her, and they literally, she filmed everything about these people. And then when the movie was being, like, publicized, it publicized as being, like, the seedy side of all of this, and, like, the prostitutes, and the drugs, and all of this kind of stuff. And they just felt like they were completely exploited. Not to mention that this movie made, like, a lot of money, and she didn't give them hardly any money whatsoever. There's, like, I think there's, like, lawsuits and stuff that happened. So, like, really nobody that was in the movie speaks well of it. Like, not one person that was in it says anything about it, which I thought was really interesting. So, if you've seen the movie, okay, the reason this is how I got thinking about, I wanted to see this video last night. I watched it as soon as, like, I think that was what I was doing. I was gonna pick my next book to listen to, and there's a book, and it's called The House of Impossible Beauties. Okay, now this book is this national award-winning book that I bought like a year ago and have never read. And so I was gonna start it, except it's like 15 hours. I might listen to it next, but this is all this, like, Pose is based on all this kind of stuff too. And a lot of the storylines of Pose are based on real things that happened in Paris is Burning, okay? But now people are coming out and they're saying you shouldn't idolize the movie Paris is Burning, which makes me sad because I've loved the movie for years. A lot of, like, the gay, like, lingo that people say, like shade and, you know, like, all that kind of stuff comes, like, it comes from the ball culture. And so in that movie, they kind of talk a lot about that. You know what I mean? And so for me, it was like one of the very first movies that I kind of felt... I mean, even though I wasn't, like, in the ball culture, when I came out in Indianapolis, Indiana in 1990, the drag community here, I think, was, to some degree, very similar, kind of, to the ball culture in New York City. As far as, you know, it was mostly, like... There was a huge transgender population, and it was mostly African American and Latino. And in Indianapolis, it was like that scene was glamorous to me when I came out. It was like, oh my God, you know? Like, I mean, I can remember going to see some of these drag queens and just being like, I thought they were literally celebrities, you know? And then I kind of got into that whole circle of being their friends and going to their pageants and stuff like that. So I think to some degree when I saw the movie, I don't know, like I think to some degree it was like, you see it and you see like they're out at like, you know, these like balls and they're like, yes, yes, yes. And I felt like, you know, like free for once, kind of like, you know, like, I don't know. There was something about it that so then I think later, you know, to hear how people felt like the movie was exploiting these people, which I have to be honest, in retrospect they were, you know? I don't know, it's like, it's kind of hard when you look at things that way. You know what I mean? Like, I loved the movie for so long. And then it was like... like this Octavia that's in Paris is Burning. I watched her in this documentary and she was like... they asked her, they said, what did you think of Paris is Burning? She said, I think it's a terrible movie. And she was somebody that, like, watching her in Paris is Burning, like, I was like, I think it's, okay, I think this is what it was. Not that I related to their stories personally, but I felt like their honesty, their hope, their desire to dream, all of that, like, I think there was a part of all, like, anybody that was gay during that time that was kind of like, yeah, like, you know, I was watching this movie tonight, and, I mean, I don't know about other gay people that came out in 1990 like I did, but if you had told me in 1990 that I could live in a condo in a neighborhood with my husband and 2 dogs, I would never in a million years have believed it. Never in a million years. And I was watching this documentary tonight, and they were talking about these publications that were put out because, you know, gay men and lesbians were so afraid to, like, they had to hide the cover of these magazines, not porn magazines. These were like educated, intellectual, I don't know, like literary magazines, so to speak. But they had like articles in them and stuff. There was at the very end, she goes and she donates some stuff to this like school. And there's this whole panel. And he's kind of explaining to her what it is. And, you know, then at the very beginning, there was this guy that's talking about 2 years prior to Stonewall, there was this bar in Los Angeles that was called the Black Cat, and that it was raided on New Year's Eve. Now, in Los Angeles at that time, in California, you weren't, like, homosexuality was against the law. So you couldn't be found kissing somebody else of the same sex, okay? So on New Year's Eve, when Old Lang Syne comes down, just imagine this now, okay? I mean, I'm sitting there thinking about my husband and I kissing every year for New Year's Eve for the last 12 years, right? So imagine this. You're in a bar, Old Lang Syne's playing on the radio, New Year's pops off, 2 seconds, the cops come in, and everybody that's kissing, what do you do on New Year's? You kiss at the top of the hour, right? Everybody that came in got arrested, or everybody that was kissing on New Year's got arrested. And I think about that, and I think about, like, how much fear I had, or I would have had back then, you know, like, and that was not my experience. That experience was, like, saved for me by the people that paved the roads before me. And I think it's really, really important for us to always pay homage to those people that came before us and to remember where that all came from. Not just because of the lingo or the words they used. No, that has very, very little to do with it. It has to do with, like, what their life was like, what their world was like. You know, it's like, you look at Paris is Burning, for example. Literally every person that was in the cast has died of some kind of AIDS complication. They're all gone. All gone. This documentary that is probably, if you said to most people, you know, like, that were, I think, within the LGBT community, like, name your top 3 documentaries that you've seen about LGBT life, or, you know, I think most people would probably say Paris is Burning in there somehow, or that it had affected them on some level, you know? And so then to have that entire cast just, you know, gone because of AIDS, like, I don't know, it's just, you know, like, we don't talk about that anymore. You know, we don't talk about that I came out to an entire generation of men that were just stories and memories, and I never got to meet them, you know? So if you watch the movie Paris is Burning, there's different houses in there, right? Like, this has even been, like, you know, like, Lady Gaga has, like, her house thing today, and all these people do houses, you know, all this kind of stuff. But anyway, it's like Alyssa Edwards on RuPaul's Drag Race has, like, the House of Edwards and stuff. Well, it all started from, like, the ball culture, which, like, they got it from, like, the fashion houses, like, you know, so anyway, that's how it all started. Well, in the movie, in the documentary, there's the House of Extravaganza, and Angie Extravaganza is the house mother, and she died like 3 years after the movie was completed of AIDS complications. Oh, so this is, okay, so anyway, so I go in, because I wanted to read about this book again to see, here it is, Joseph Cassara. So I wanted to see about this book again. And let me read it to you. Okay, now if you've read Paris is Burning, listen to this. It's almost nonfiction. It's 1980 in New York City, and nowhere in the city's glamour and energy better reflected than in the burgeoning Harlem ball scene, where 17-year-old Angel, whose name is imposed, Angel first comes into her own. Burned by her traumatic past, Angel is new to the drag world, new to the ball culture, and has a yearning inside of her to help create family for those without. When she falls in love with Hector Extravaganza, a beautiful young man who dreams of becoming a professional dancer, the two decide to form the House of Extravaganza, the first ever all-Latino house in the Harlem ball circuit. But when Hector dies of AIDS-related complications, Angel must bear the responsibility of tending to their house alone. As the mother of the house, Angel recruits Venus, who was also in the movie, a whip-fast trans girl who dreams of finding a rich man to take care of her, Juanito, a quiet boy who loves fabrics and designs, and Daniel, a butch queen who accidentally saves Venus's life. The Extravaganzas must learn to navigate sex work, addiction, and persistent abuse, leaning on each other as bulwarks against a world that resists them. All are ambitious, resilient, and determined to control their own fates, even as they hurtle toward devastating consequences. Told in a voice that brims with wit, rage, tenderness, and fierce yearning, The House of Impossible Beauties is a tragic story of love, family, and the dynamism of the human spirit. Okay, now what's weird about this is when you go in and you look it up, okay, this is a work of fiction, I do believe that that's considered a work of fiction, isn't it? I mean, it's all House of Impossible. I mean, it's all real people that they're talking about. But isn't it considered fiction? 416 pages. Nothing about the author. He has no profile on here. Oh yeah, his picture's on here. He's attractive. Not that that matters, but attractive authors. Okay, so if you go in here and you Google search it, it literally got nominated for all of these things, right? House of Impossible Beauty. So when you pull it up, it says, named a recommended book of 2018 by BuzzFeed, The Wall Street Journal, The Millions, plus Southern Living, Bustle, Esquire, Entertainment Weekly, Nylon, Mashable, Library Journal, Thrillist, Casara's propulsive and profound first novel, Finding One's Home in the World particularly, and it goes on, is like, got all of these great reviews, right? Totally based off of the extravaganza in New York City. So, I go and I watch this video last night, all right? You guys are like, Peter, this is not some true crime. Yes, it is. I'm doing a true crime investigation. So, because I'm like kind of like obsessed with all this stuff that happened around Paris is Burning. Like, I've watched all of the videos for years of like what happened to so-and-so, and I know all that kind of stuff, right? So I go watch this video that was on Tribe TV. I should see if I can find it. So anyway, in case anybody else is interested in watching it. Tribe Paris is Burning. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. Tribe TV Network, Life After Paris is Burning. It's 12 minutes and 35 seconds. And then, like, here's all the different videos I've watched. Okay, like Paris is Burning, 1990. Paris is Burning, well, that's the whole movie. Paris is Burning, Venus Extravaganza, A Body in the Closet, The Story of Dorian Corey. Paris is Burning, okay, then it goes on. Crystal LeBeja's Epic Reads. So, Paris is Burning, reading. Then there's also another movie called The Queen, and it's on Amazon Prime right now if you've never seen it. But, so anyway, this Tribe Network looks really interesting. Like, they also did, like, a follow-up to, like, what happened to the people that were in the... Oh, here, Life After Bully, where are they now? Like, did you ever see the movie Bully? I loved that movie back in the day. Tiger King, where are they now? 3 weeks ago. Oh, this is real interesting. Look at this. Every time... Okay, wait. Tiger King, where are they now? 308,000 views. Life After Bully, where are they now? 773 views. That is really random. Okay. The worst casting in biopics. Oh, they just started 6 months ago. And they had a trailer, and then their very first video was the Paris is Burning one, and it got 145,000 views. Subscribe. This channel's interesting. So I go in there and watch it. Well, then what starts pulling up all this here, I'll show you what it pulled up. Damn it. Okay, it started pulling up all these videos underneath here. No, now it's not doing it tonight. But it started pulling up all these videos about, all this stuff that was going on, and it talks about this other documentary that was made that is considered kind of like the follow-up to Paris is Burning, and it's called How Do I Look? And I can't find it anywhere. You can rent it for $2.99 on Amazon Prime or buy it for $11.99. That's the only place. I couldn't find it on YouTube or Netflix or anything. And it says a groundbreaking documentary that chronicles the origin of Harlem's houseball and voguing, capturing audiences worldwide. And it has like 5 of the people that were in Paris is Burning in it. It has like that Octavia. It has Willie Ninja in it. And it was just funny that there's like this whole world that continues to go on. Now, if you've seen Paris is Burning, this woman even comes up with this theory Okay, there's a scene in Paris is Burning when they interview these two, like, boys that are on the street. They're like 13 or 14. And they say that they're like boyfriends or something. I can't remember. And, like, I guess people have speculated through the years, like, who are these kids? Like, what happened to them? Whatever. And so she, in the article, or in the movie, like, what happened to them, she found this video on YouTube called The Boy in the Blue Coat or something from Paris is Burning. And somebody commented on it and said... And she said, you know, it could be completely fake or whatever, but she's like, I'm the boy, somebody commented on it and said, I'm the boy in the blue coat, and I was adopted, and I ended up going to college. She said something about him going to college, and that somebody claimed that on their Instagram story. It was like this whole weird, all this stuff that happened. I'm just like, that's the kind of stuff that I'm interested in. Like, you know, did you ever watch the movie, the original Poltergeist? The new one sucks. Don't even worry about the new Poltergeist. But the original Poltergeist, well, first of all, after everything that they know about the original Poltergeist, why they would remake that movie and recast it is beyond me. Do you guys know, did you ever see the first Poltergeist? Okay, my friends and I back in the day, my good friends that we were like, you know, when the boys were playing baseball on the street, we were like popping our gum on the electric box. We have like one in our yard right there. I live for it. Sometimes I sit on it just to remind me of what it was like back in the days when you would sit on it in the hot summer. Do you remember that? So anyway, I'd have on my terry cloth shorts, you know, that had like, they were like yellow, and they had like the green trim or the white trim with like the matching tank top. I thought, with my socks pulled up over my knees and my Nikes, I thought I was the answer. So anyway, I had my lip gloss that I kept in my little pocket. You know, you have that little pocket in the inside to put like $1 or a quarter or something, you know? And I kept my lip gloss in that little inside pocket. Do you know what I'm talking about? The rollerball Dr. Pepper lip gloss. Oh my God, I loved that stuff. So anyway, or the cotton candy, but times haven't really changed a whole lot, have they? People think I make this shit up. It's all, like, this is my life. This has always been my life. So anyway, but we would sit out there and we would chew our Bubblicious or Hubba Bubba or Major League, what's it called? The big league gum. If you wanted to chew that, you could. And then we would go like this, and you remember like in the movie Poltergeist, at the end when Carol Ann and her mom, they come through the light, and then it's like that pink gooey stuff. We thought it looked like bubble gum, so we would go, "Come into the light, Carol Ann, come to the light," and we would like, we would pop the gum like that. That's why, okay, so I don't know how long ago it was. It was like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I shouted out this channel called Bitchin' and Eatin', Buddy and Kay. I haven't looked at their channel in a long time. I need to look at their channel. They're such sweet girls. I don't know what they're doing today, so don't hold me to that. But they did this live stream on New Year's Eve. That was a year ago on New Year's Eve. And I can remember I was getting ready and I was laughing my ass off because they were doing this thing where they would like be having this conversation, then out of the blue, one of them would go, "Carol Ann!" from Poltergeist. And I feel like I was like the only one in the live stream that understood it. Do you know who like Bitchin' and Eatin' is? Buddy and Kay. They basically just sit there and they eat for like 3 hours, and I live for them. And they're so funny and they're so sweet. And but they did this whole thing, and it was just like, I don't know what cracked me up about it. It cracked me up so much because it just reminded me of when I was a kid. And they'd just be like, all of a sudden, I was like, had their phone, like my phone propped up with like their live stream, you know, and I was getting ready. And then all of a sudden they'd just be like, "Carol Ann!" And then they did a song called Carol Ann, but they did it to the words of Jolene. Somebody said in my comment section that my hat starts slipping off once I like refigure it out, whatever. So anyway, I don't know, but like if you ever watch that Poltergeist movie, you know, like all those people, like stuff happened to them, you know, like I'm sure there's an article on it. Hold on a second. Like one of the girls died and all kinds of weird stuff happened. It was like original Poltergeist cast deaths. Okay. Heather O'Rourke, who played Carol Ann in all 3 Poltergeist films, died on February 1st, 1980 at the age of 12. She had major, from acute bowel destruction. But if you go in here and you read it, there's like all this, what happened to the original cast. 2 more cast members died within a couple years of the sequel. Julian Beck, who starred as Kane in Poltergeist 2. Oh, he was so scary. Oh my, do you remember that? Oh my God. What was that song he used to sing? Anyway, I don't know that I want to remember it. In June 1987, Will Samter, the actor who played the exorcism, died of... I thought the sister died too. How did the people in the Poltergeist... Oh, wait. Oh, Heather O'Rourke died in an operation. That's so sad, isn't it? Here it is, The Poltergeist Curse. The deaths of Dominique Young, Julian Beck, Will Sampion. See? I would never have been in that movie again. Where am I at on time? It says the battery is like half low, so it's probably going to die here soon. The legend of the so-called Poltergeist Curse began the same year the first movie was released. Actress Dominique Young, who made her debut in Poltergeist as the elder sister, I knew she did, of Carol Ann, was strangled to death by her former boyfriend, John Thomas Sweeney, in the wake of an argument between the two. According to a New York Times article at the time, Dunn was put on life support after the attack from her former beau, but passed away 5 days later. So sad. Sweeney would go on to be found... Okay, it goes on. Next in a string of spooky deaths was that of Julian Beck, who played the aforementioned apocalyptic prognosticator Kane in Poltergeist 2. Beck would not live to see the release of the sequel, which would be his final film. Passed away at the age of 60 after a battle with stomach cancer. Third death of an actor associated with the film started rousing spectral suspicions. Will Sampson had played a kindly ghost named Taylor who protected Carol Ann. Oh my God, I forgot about that. In the second film of the series, he died on June 3rd, 1987 after a lengthy illness caused by a chronic degenerative condition. Then Heather O'Rourke. There was one other death as well. Actress and activist Zelda Rubinstein. Okay, she's the one that played the psychic in the original. Did you ever see that? Oh my God. Who played the plucky diminutive, according. Her death is not usually connected to the so-called curse. Okay, and then it talks about all these rumors and stuff. When Poltergeist was rebooted, this is on Oxygen. When Poltergeist was rebooted in 2015, some wondered whether the stars would be safe. Although the movie was widely panned, it turns out no one has perished yet as a result of their involvement. That being said, director Joel Keenan noted some paranormal phenomenon during... Of course. Isn't that interesting, though? It's very scary. If you believe in that kind of stuff. Oh my gosh. Hi. I don't know what else to talk about tonight. I've just been rambling. I am going to listen to this book a little bit more. I think I will read that House of Impossible Beauties next, maybe. Oh, but you know what? Well, what is tomorrow? Friday? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Depending on when I finish the next book, because the sequel to Camino Island comes out on Tuesday, and I pre-ordered it, and I want to read that, like, as soon as it comes out. I don't know why I thought that Camino Island was so good. It was interesting because, you know, like, I did that when I did that grocery store, the book picks or whatever, and it was one of the books I didn't read. I should go in there and read all the rest of them. I also picked a Sidney Sheldon book that I never read. I should go in there and read the rest of them. But Mel told me, she was like, I really liked Camino Island. Like, you should try it. And so I did, and I was floored. Like, I loved it. So, thank you, Mel. Thank you, Mel. Mel called me tonight, but it was right as I was getting ready to lay down. And I should have just got up and called her back, because I couldn't sleep. I was over it. I just hate that. When you, like, toss and turn and you can't fall asleep, you know? Anyway, let's go and look at a couple comments. I'm trying to make this last as long as I possibly can before the battery dies, because I don't want to go inside and get another battery. The thing is that every time I go inside, like, I don't mind going inside, but every time I do, the dogs start barking. And like, it wakes Alex up. And so when I get done vlogging, I'm going to go inside because I'm going to start rendering the video. So that's once. And then when I come back in at the end, that's another time. So that's at least 2 times that I don't want to, like, you know, have to go back in. And I wish I had another battery charge, but I don't. One thing. So this channel, her name is Hope Tried It, and she does like drama videos and stuff. She's so sweet. She's made several videos about me. And she did this thing. I can't play it for you because it'll get copyrighted. But she did this. I need to have her like posted on Twitter. It's so adorable. She wrote this whole song to the music, like all her own lyrics, but to the lyrics of Secondhand News by Fleetwood Mac. And it's so cute, you guys. I loved it. And then I played it for Alex. And I was like, oh my God, because there's like a whole like part about Alex in there. And he thought it was so cute. He was laughing and stuff. And so anyway, that song has been stuck in my head now for the last like 2 days. It's gonna stop, hold on. It's been stuck in my head for like the last 2 days. And today I finally downloaded the song. I don't know why I didn't have it on my iPad or iPod. I have basically every other Fleetwood Mac song in the entire world, but I didn't have it, so I downloaded it, and I was listening to it earlier today and jamming out, sitting here in my car. Oh, we were gonna read some comments. I gotta keep an eye on the camera because I don't know when it's gonna stop. We'll see how far I get. If it won't let me get much farther, then I'll go get the other camera, or I'll go get the other battery. It should be, I mean, it's been charging for an hour now, so. Pinky Annie asked, do your local grocery stores offer curbside pickup? Walmart, Target, Whole Foods, and Kroger in my areas offer curbside pickup. Yes, they do. But from my friend in the neighborhood that knew my mom and my aunt, she does it, and she said it's like a week out at this point. So, it is what it is. Alex said that Costco was like not bad at all today. He said there was hardly any wait, there was hardly any people in there, and and he was like, went in with his mask and his gloves and everything like that and came home, and he said he felt real safe about the whole thing. So, Jennifer said, I swear, listening to you make me feel like anything is possible. Just saying, XO. I love that. Thank you so much. I do think that anything is possible. And if you don't believe it, there's a movie called Season of Miracles. It's a Hallmark Christmas movie, and it's one of my favorites. And it has that, what's her face, Duke in it. Why can't I think of her name? But anyway, her son was in the movie Taps. Did you ever see Taps back in the day? What is her name? Duke. Patty Duke? Is that her name? Patty Duke Austin? Yeah, because her son is Sean Astin. Sean Astin. Patty Duke Astin. Yeah. Anyway, Patty Duke is in it, and I love it. And it's also got the woman that was the mother in Spy Kids. So anyway, but in there, he had the police officer who ends up falling in love with the mom. Her name is, I can't remember, but she was at the Horror Hound festival that I went to. She's really pretty in person. But anyway, he has the little girl do this whole, like, what do you call it, scavenger hunt in the library. And she finally picks up the book, and the book is The Secret Garden. And inside, it says, anything is possible. And she said, that's not true. And he said, oh, yes, it is. And at the very end, she believes that anything is true, anything is possible. And I believe it, too. No, but I really do believe that anything is possible. You know, like, it might not be exactly, like, how you want it to be, you know? But I don't know. I think sometimes we have an idea of, like, okay, like, when we say anything is possible, well, I want to be a movie star and win an Oscar. Okay, well, maybe that's, like, not necessarily on that level. But maybe you do end up getting some small part in a movie, and you meet some celebrities, and you get invited to an Oscar party or something, you know, or you get to one year, like, be an extra, sit in, and who knows, you know? Like, I do believe that anything is possible, but I also believe this. I believe that sitting at home in a chair complaining about your life is not going to get you to anything possible. I think you have to put a lot of action into that. I think if you want dreams to happen, you got to make dreams happen. I think sometimes you got to be, you know, the maker. How does he say it in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? He's like, you know, we are the dreamers of dreams and something. But I believe that, you know, it's like, I think sometimes you have to be the one that, like, gets things moving. What is that quote from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? I love that quote. Oh, here it is. We are the music makers and we are the dreamers of dreams. I love that. Oh wait, where's the iconic quote? Because this is 10 iconic quotes from Willy Wonka. There's one of my favorite quotes is at the very end. It's like the last thing that he says. I love this. This is probably one of my favorite quotes of life, period, end of story. Don't forget what happened to the man who suddenly got everything he ever wanted. He lived happily ever after. I love that so much. It's one of my favorite quotes. I just screenshot it. I love that so much, don't you? I mean, I really am somebody that believes in happily ever after. I really, really do believe that. I dated this guy before I got sober. He was such an asshole. I mean, I'm sure I was a bit of an asshole too. You know, when you look back on it, it's like, I don't know. Anyway, I was too. I was a bit of an ASS hole to him as well. Oh, the battery's gonna die. I'm gonna have to go inside and get the other battery. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. That was longer than I intended for it to be. I went inside and Alex is still up. He's upstairs and I could hear, and I was like I could hear like people laughing, and I was like, what are you listening to? Or what are you watching? He was like, I'm watching TikToks. He's like obsessed. My husband is literally obsessed with TikTok. He watches it like 24 hours a day. He lays in bed and he like watches this, and then he just like laughs so hard. And then he just like watches the same ones over and over and over again. And then he like sends them to me throughout the day. He loves TikTok so much. Anyway, so about this guy that I dated. This was the guy that I dated like right before I got sober, like that summer. I don't know. He was probably no more of an asshole to me than I was to him, in all honesty. I'm sure I was a huge handful at that point, you know? I know I was a huge handful at that point. But anyway, he said to me one time, he was like... I don't even honestly know how I remember this because I was probably drunk at the time. But he looked at me and he was like, it was when we broke up. And of which, like, I don't know if anybody relates to this, but we didn't just have one breakup. We had like 3 over the course of like 2 weeks. You know, we like broke up, got back together. But this was like one of them. And he looked at me and he goes, you think that like life is like this fairy tale and that everybody just at the end like goes off into the sunset and lives happily ever after. And I was like... yeah, so what's wrong with... I did though, like I really did, you know? And I still kind of like to think that way. I don't know what's wrong with that. Why would you just want to think that the rest of your life is going to be misery and woe? I don't want to think that way. But I do know a lot of people that prefer to just sit that way and think that they like to think that life is a S.H.I. Toot sandwich, and I don't really care to think that way. I like to look at the hope and the positivity of life, you know? And I maybe do kind of think that it is there's some kind of fairy tale at the end of all of it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I know life is not a fairy tale. I know that it's, you know, there's no perfect endings, and I get that. But there's a lot of perfect middles. You know, there's a lot of perfect moments. And I know when people say there's no such thing as perfect, but haven't you had just a perfect moment? Like, haven't you? Like, when you're sitting there and you're like, I don't know, with your, like, partner, your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, and you're just sitting there and it's, like, just such a perfect moment. And no, I'm not talking about those moments, but those moments can be perfect, too. I'm talking about just, like... that moment where you're like so connected, like you guys are like laughing or something, you know what I mean? Like, or you just like smile at each other from across the room, you're so connected. Or like sitting with Tanya in the car and we just get laughing so hard, like in that moment is perfect, you know? Or watch, like tonight, like Boo Radley was chasing Tucker. It was so funny. Like Tucker would go over and he would get himself comfortable. And I think they were feeling rather ignored because although they have had so much attention since Alex has been home, but he was in the kitchen and he like sets up on this table, like where he like sets up his computer and he like does his little calls and stuff. And Tucker was trying to like lay down like around him, but he doesn't like to lay down on the slate floor in the kitchen. I think because, you know, it's kind of like cold or whatever, which you would think would be nice, but he doesn't. He like lays down for like a minute and then he gets up. And so Boo Radley was just like walking around. Well, we have these 2 little beds. They're little bed, like flat beds. Somebody sent us that has like their names on them. We still use them. We love them. And we have them in the living room. And so Tucker would go over and he would sit on it like this. And as soon as he like sat down, Boo Radley would just come running out of the kitchen, you know? And it's just like moments like that. I mean, don't you think we have perfect moments in our lives? I mean, I know I do. I know I have perfect moments, you know, where I get the coffee and like back in the day, I get my Starbucks coffee, you know, and I'd be driving around listening to some music and like, and the sun was shining and the windows were down. And just on that moment, it just was like everything felt perfect. It felt like nothing could go wrong. Haven't you had moments like that? I've had a lot of moments like that in my life. So, yeah, a lot. And, but no, I don't think that life by any means is perfect. I don't think it's supposed to be. You know, I say this a lot in my Peterisms videos, that I think it's like the bitter and the sweet. You know, that life is bittersweet. That it's very much like the yin and the yang. Like it's the positive and the negative. I mean, it all has to go together, because how could you appreciate the really great moments, the perfect moments, if you didn't have moments that weren't so perfect, you know, and you didn't have some sadness in your life at times. And you're going to, you know, and I think it makes us all appreciate it all the much more, I think. All the much more, all the more. None of that makes sense, it doesn't matter. But anyway, back to Jennifer's comment. Thank you, Jennifer. About anything is possible. Oh, Jennifer left a bunch of blue hearts on here. Okay. Daniel said, thank you for the one more I love you. 1 million subscribers said, watched you till the end. Bye. Love ya. Love y'all. I love all of you. Marissa said, Peter, blue heart. Becca said, have you and Alex seen Outer Banks on Netflix? Oh my God, so good. No, I'd have it on my list. It's probably a show that I'll get to last, because there's just so many other things I'd rather watch. Honestly, Alex will probably watch it here in the next couple days. He's almost done with that show already. I asked him today, I said, how do you like that show you started last night? He goes, oh, I'm almost done with it. I go, oh, okay. Sarah said, you look amazing with that shirt on. I'm feeling better watching your vlogs every day during this time. Love you, Peter. Thank you, Sarah. It is so funny. That purple t-shirt that I got is literally like a $9.99. It's Target brand. It's like Goodman's, right? I don't know what the brand is called, but anyway. It's like one of my least favorite t-shirts. But what's so funny is every time I wear that t-shirt, no matter where I go, like people out in public stop me and they're like, where did you get that t-shirt? Like, I love that color. And I'm like, it's literally like a Target $9.99 t-shirt. It's so funny, isn't it? Anyway, all of my t-shirts are from Target. Target has the best t-shirts for men. Beatrice said, my yellow lab has a lamb chop too. It's a big one. I call it his baby because he always takes it everywhere, even under the bed. That's so sweet. Aww. Melissa said, that's how we feel about you, Peter. Could literally listen to you talk for hours. Oh, thank you. Jennifer said, thank you, Peter, and no one has told you we all love you and you are valuable to us. You matter and you're beautiful as well. XOXO. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Angelica said, I'm glad you talked about women's bra fits issues. And then she goes in and shares her personal stuff, which I'm not going to read on here. And then she said, avoid Victoria's Secret. They will try to cram you into whatever they have. So the reason my mom, that's interesting, you know, like Victoria's Secret gets a lot of criticism these days. I think rightfully so for some of their statements in the past. But my mom would always say that they by far had the nicest bras and underwear. She had to order them from there. And I think the reason she got them there was because to order it from there was actually cheaper than to order a bra. She wanted like 2 nice bras, like really nice bras that she could wear, like, you know, if she was working or whatever. So she ordered them from there, because to order from Victoria's Secret, even though they were crazy expensive, they were like $100 or something. But maybe even more than that, I don't know. But to do that was cheaper than to order them through like Saks or Nordstrom. And she wanted like a nice bra. She didn't want to just like go to, you know, like somewhere and just get a bra that wasn't going to last for very long, because if she was going to like get sized and do it right, she wanted like a bra that was going to make her feel comfortable, you know. The birds were singing you off today, Peter, said Maricela. So many people are saying that Anderson Cooper interviewed the mayor of Las Vegas last night. I didn't see it. I'll look and see if I can find it. Mystery Girl said, "Ha, don't you hate going to the grocery store these days? It's such an ordeal, an event. I go wearing a half mask, respirator, gloves, goggles, and shoe covers. Hate it." Yes, I hate it. And then, okay, so if I go, I typically wear a t-shirt that has a pocket right here, and then I wear like real flimsy, like not flimsy shorts, but like I wear like sweat shorts like I have on right now, because I take this stuff off as soon as I get in and I like wash it. And it sucks because like in my pocket I have like my hand sanitizer. I have like 3 different kinds of hand sanitizer, but like shoot, where's the bottle? Here's the hand sanitizer that I like. Actually, somebody sent this to me. So I have this in my pocket with my keys, and then I put like my credit card or my debit card and my driver's license in my pocket, but I'm always afraid I'm going to lose it, because I want to just be able to get in and like that and not have like a lot of stuff to touch. And then I go in and I have like the gloves and the mask and whatever, but like, you know, it's just, I don't want to mess with it. Like, that's why Alex today, when he was like, I'm going to the grocery store, I was like, okay. I had no desire to go, and I was like, oh, because I asked him when he got back from Costco, I said, like when I was asking him like what he bought, you know, and I said, well, what did you buy? And he was like this and that and whatever, and he goes, I got some more Coke. And I said, am I out of Diet Coke? And he goes, I don't think so. He said, but you bought 2 cases, because I bought 2 cases. And he goes, you shouldn't be. And I don't know, I like actually just restocked a bunch in the refrigerator. I have probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I have like 15 in the refrigerator right now. So I'm good to go for a while, you know. I'm drinking 1 every day, 2 max. Yesterday, I think I had like, the last 2 days I've had too much Diet Coke. I need to just slow it down. But, this is why I don't usually have this stuff at home, because I have put on so much weight, and like, I'm really, like this, I mean, I don't know why. It's like I'm waiting until May 1st. It makes no difference. I could start eating well tomorrow, but I'm like, I think I might want mac and cheese and pizza rolls, you know what I mean? And I've got the stuff, so I'm like, just eat it. Just like, you know, a week is not going to make any big difference. Just eat the stuff, and you know, then when you're out of it, you can start trying to eat healthier. And if you decide after 3 days that you don't want to do it, well, you could just go to the grocery store and get a bunch of crap again, you know? But the reason I don't typically have a lot of stuff like this around the house, like why we don't have a lot of food, is because I love to eat. And if I have this stuff at the house, I will eat it. Like if I have a case of Diet Coke, like, you know, Tanya's always like, I don't understand why you don't just keep a case of Diet Coke at the house. It's so cheap, right? And I'm like, well, first of all, I don't drink that much. I mean, I really don't. Like, until all this, I wasn't drinking this kind of Diet Coke. Like, I would drink a diet soda if Tanya and I like went to the fountain, like to go get a fountain pop. And like, even then I would sometimes get a bottle of water, you know, which I'm still drinking a lot of water. I'm like every day filling up my Pure thing that I bought, and like drinking it and having to refill it throughout the day. So, but it's not as big as the quart that I had before. I don't know how many ounces are in it. But yeah, I've been like drinking a lot of water, but I've been drinking a lot of Diet Coke, and it's not healthy for me. And just eating like crap, you know? So, I don't know. I don't like going to the grocery store. No, it's a complete, you're right, it's a complete hassle. It's like, and it's just, and even like, to get gas, you know, like when I get gas, So I have, shoot, where are they? Oh my God, I was wondering my other plastic cup is. There it is. Where is my, well, they're back there somewhere. I have Lysol wipes. So when I go to the gas station, okay, to get gas, and the other thing is this, is like, you can't just like, you know, like back in the day, when you would like go to the gas station or, you know, whatever, and you just get out, you like, you're not thinking, right? You don't really think. I feel like I have to think through everything that I do to make sure that I do it the right way now. So I get out and I pop my gas, because the gas thing is right here. So I pop it open and then I open my door, okay? And then I lay out a Lysol wipe on my seat so that that can be like the last Lysol wipe that I do. And then I take my debit card out and I put it in my pocket. I mean, it's the whole thing is such a mess, right? And then I get out 2 more Lysol wipes and I go over and I like take one of them and I like insert my, well, first I wipe everything down, okay, the buttons and everything. And then, and also like the handle and everything, I wipe that all down with one and I throw that away. And then with the other one, I put in the card and then it has me push the buttons and I literally push the button with my finger, like in a, like a Lysol wrapped around it. And then I like grab the thing and I put it in with the Lysol wrap or Lysol wipe and I start pumping the gas. And then I throw that away and then I go in and I get 2 more Lysol wipes to finish the whole thing off and get my receipt, which, you know, the last time, was it the last time or was it the time before that? They weren't filling the receipt paper, so then I had to come into my car and get a pen out and like write it down because I keep a record of all that stuff. So anyway, I keep all my receipts. And then the last thing I do is I come into the car and then like after I've wiped, I keep my door open and after I've wiped down like my debit card and I put it back in my wallet, I wipe down my phone with another Lysol wipe and then I wipe my like hands with a Lysol wipe. And then I also have my hand sanitizer out, and then I throw the Lysol wipes away, and then I come back in the car after I've wiped everything down, and then I use the hand sanitizer on my car, and then I still don't feel like that's good enough. You know? Yeah, I don't like it. It's like, and that's why, like, I just want to get everything done on the same day, because then I just don't have to worry about it again, you know? And I'm kind of at the point too, like, where back in the day, if like I really wanted something, I would go and get it. I'm at the point where if I'm like, if I want something, like, I'm like, it is what it is. You know, I'm out of it. I guess it is what it is, you know? So, yeah. Jennifer said, Peter, thank you for being here faithfully. On another note, though, I wish I could be a part of your book club, but I can't afford the books. Is there a lending way? Makes me sad. You talk about these books I know I would love, and I have Audible free for whatever many days and thinking of keeping it, but the books are so expensive for a mom stuck at home right now. I want to read the Molly one. You just got done with Molly's Game. You know what I mean? But I'm sad because I really love books and want to be part of your book club. Anywho, love you lots. Okay, every book that we pick for the book club, you can also get at the library. We make sure that they are at the libraries. So we never pick a book that you can't get at the library. Now there might be a wait. This is the problem, is that like a lot of the books, what's going on? Why is it my windshield wiper, or my windshield is like heating up. Sometimes there's a wait, but if you like audiobooks, there is also Overdrive and Libby, which are like online lending tools. They're actually apps that you can get. I think Overdrive is. I don't know if Libby is an app, but I'm almost positive it is. And you can actually go in and you can rent or like check out from the library. You just put in your library information. You can check out, like you have to put your library card number in and everything like that. And then it gives you like a code, and you go in and change the code once you've like established it. And then you can go in and You can download audiobooks and Kindle books, and I think you get them for like 2 weeks or whatever you would normally get a library book for. I know Mel uses it all the time. Mel is like one of the biggest library users in the world. And I have to say what's really interesting is that in the last year or two, like, I don't know if you know this, but a lot of people talk about this on BookTube, libraries have made a huge return. Like, there was a time when people were talking about like closing down a lot of the libraries, not closing them down, but like limiting what they did, because people at that point were really only going to libraries to use them for like getting online and things like that. But now people are really using library services, renting books, things like that. So like they've really, like, libraries are really busy these days. So yeah, that's a free resource that you can use. So yeah, and as far as Molly's Game, I know it's not the same thing, but the movie is on Netflix. Next month, we are doing Everything Eileen Wuornos. The 2 books that we're reading are, I think it's called Dead End, is the book. And I put it on my BookTube channel. It's over there. It's called Book Club Update. Biggest one ever, or something like that. It has it listed underneath there. And then we're also reading Dear Dawn. It's an extra credit book. But the whole month is about Eileen Wuornos. Like, you wouldn't even really have to read the books, although I encourage it because it's a book club. But there's 2 movies, documentaries that are on Amazon Prime, and there's tons of stuff on YouTube. And the movie Monster is also on Amazon Prime. But you could probably find it other places as well, maybe even the library. So, yeah, like you could just read articles and stuff about, and then we're gonna have a live book discussion about Eileen Wuornos at the end of the month, which we'll have to pick a different day, because that'll be Memorial Day weekend. Not that it will matter, but you know they canceled the race in Indianapolis, or they moved it to August or something like that. It's so crazy, isn't it? I think the only time since I've been growing up in Indianapolis that the race did not happen was because of rain. So it's really weird. A lot of people that live in Las Vegas in here, Isis and somebody else also said that they live in Las Vegas, and it's sad that everything's closed. Kayleen said, yay, time for my Coke Zero with Peter. One of the things I look forward to these days. Much love from SoCal. I used to love Coke Zero. I don't love it so much anymore. Patty Cake said, ready to run someone over behind you in the driveway. Ooh, now we see the gangster side of Peter. Listen, okay? If somebody was behind me, okay, don't you think I wouldn't call 911? I'd be like calling 911, and I'd be like, ah, you better get out of my way. I'd be scared to death. No, here's a funny story. So my first boyfriend and I, it was actually somebody that was stalking him, not me. But he, the whole situation is very sad. Oh my God, I don't know if I've told this. I think I have told this story on here actually, but it's been a long time. So my ex worked at, God, this was like, we broke up when I was like 26. No, we broke up when I was, so we got together right almost before my like year. We were together, so it would have been, hold on a second. Okay, wait. I would have been 23 to 24, 24 to 25, 25, 26, 26, 27. I was going to be 28 that summer. So 27, between 27 and 28, we broke up. So he worked 2 jobs, and one of the jobs that he worked was room service at the Marriott by us, and he loved it because it like made good tips, and then he would like bring home these desserts late at night, like these 2 boxes of desserts, and we would sit there and we would eat all these desserts. Well, there was a guy that worked in like the hotel as well, and he would like, the whole thing was very bizarre. He would like hit on my ex and stuff, and my ex would come home and be like, it's really uncomfortable, I don't really know what to say, and I'd be like, you need to tell your manager. And he'd be like, no, I don't really want to cause this guy any trouble and whatever, but it's like very, he would say things to me like, you and I can be together, and my wife, he was married and had kids. He was like, and the whole thing was very, very sad. And so anyway, like I would say to my ex, I'd be like, well, like, what does he want? Like, does he want you to like move in with he and his wife? He's like, I don't know. And the guy like spoke Spanish, and so it was like he didn't understand a lot of what he said to him. And so anyway, he would come home and he would like be like, I think he followed me home, like to see where we live. Like this had happened on a couple different occasions. Well, our apartment was on the first floor, and it was like on a corner, and we had a window here and a window here, and the TV was like in the corner. Do you know what I mean? And we were like on the couch, and we were sitting there one night, and he would park his car like right outside the window, and so we could see like right outside the window. And he was like sitting on the floor in front of me, and I was sitting like in the chair, and I was like rubbing his shoulders while we were watching a movie. We used to like rub each other's shoulders and trade places. Did you guys ever do that? Okay. So anyway, we were watching this movie, and we had all the lights off inside. So like if you were outside, if you were looking in, you probably couldn't, it didn't seem like there was anybody there. And so all of a sudden, we see somebody like walking around his car with a flashlight, and he's like, there's somebody walking around I was like, I know, I see it. And he's like, what should I do? And I said, call the police. And so we called the police, and I'm laughing because of how I acted in this, right? Because I was like, I'm gonna get this guy, and blah, blah, blah. Like we like ran over and shut the window really quick, and I called the police. One of us called the police, but anyway, I don't know, this was, you know, literally 20 years ago, exactly right now, 20 years ago. And so the police officers came. Well, the way that our door was, so like if that was the window over here, you know, like where we could see out of it, then we had this like wall, and then the door was like right here, and then the kitchen went in like this. So we could have like this window that could like look into like to the like through to the front door. I don't know how to explain it other than that. But anyway, so I was standing there, and all of a sudden we hear this like on the door, and I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And my ex was like, it's just the police officer, settle down. After I had been like, if he ever comes here again, I'm gonna F him up and blah blah blah. And then it was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I was like totally freaking out, right? And it was the police officer, and the police officer was like yada 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 and all this kind of stuff. So, the whole thing was so weird. This guy was relentless. Like, he was relentless with my ex. And I didn't really, like, know what to make of it at first. I was kind of like, you know, I don't know, the whole thing was so weird. Well, then, my mom would come, and she would leave Post-it notes on the front door. And she would like leave a Post-it note, and she'd be like, hey, just stopped by, wanted to see if you guys were home, blah, 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 whatever. I'll catch you next time, give me a call. And she would say to me, like, I left you a note. And I would say, I never got it. And she'd say, you know, like, about my ex. And, I mean, he and my mom got along really well. And she'd be like, well, did he say that he got the note? And I'd be like, no. And she'd be like, well, that's really weird. Like, why are you guys not getting my notes? I'm leaving them on the door. She's like, well, maybe it blew off. I don't know. We didn't think much about it. So then I'm at work one day, okay? Now, my old roommate that lives in Germany now that I was talking about, she and I and this boyfriend that I had, the three of us shared an apartment. That was the first apartment in that complex. I had lived in 3 different apartments in that complex. That was the first apartment that we had together. This other apartment was she and I and him. We shared a 2-bedroom apartment. she got to be really good friends with the guy that was the office manager, because he had been the office manager at the apartment that I lived at before when she had lived with me. And so she knew him from there, and he came to the gym where she worked out. And so they were like real buddy-buddy, right? Well, I mean, he was like this like super like, you know, straight guy, butchy kind of straight guy, whatever. But he always looked over me, like when I lived in there. Like anything that ever went wrong, like he always had my back, right? So I'm at work one day. I'm in a group, okay? Running a group. And my supervisor comes to the door. And we have these windows in the door. And she was like, can you come here for a second? She was like, and I was like, and I opened the door and I was like, yeah, what's going on? And she's like, I need you to leave. And she's like, your office manager for your apartment is on the phone. And she was like, he says he needs you to come over there. She's like, I'll run the rest of your group. It was like 20 minutes left. She goes, I'll run the rest of your group. She goes, is everything okay? And I go, I have no idea what's going on. So I went and I took this call, and he was like, this guy was so nice, the office manager, and he was like, Peter, he was like, we have this guy that's like been stalking your apartment. We've had other people complain about it, but we caught him. And I was like, what do you mean you caught him? And he was like, he was going through your trash. Well, we would take our trash, and like, if we were gonna take our trash like on a Thursday, like take it to the dumpster the next day, like we would set it outside so that we could just like grab it and then go to the car. It was like, we had like a real private entrance, right? So like you would have literally had to like walk into our entrance, which was kind of completely like private. And so we would just like put the bag out there, and then the next day we would pick it up, and like we had like one major like dumpster in the neighborhood, and we would go take it there. And so I don't remember how the whole thing went down. See, I wasn't looking and it stopped. Ugh. So anyway, I don't know how the whole thing all went down, but he had threatened my boyfriend, and my boyfriend hadn't told me. He had like threatened him, like in some real weird kind of threat thing. And it had been the night before. And so he was there at the apartment, and we kind of thought like maybe in retrospect the guy was like not right in the head, like he was definitely off, and that he was like trying to apprehend him or something, because he was right by our door and he was going through our trash. Okay, well, he had been doing this for literally like 2 months. This is how I know. So he's leaving. Now they've been watching him in the neighborhood. My office manager calls the police. There's 2 exits out of our apartment complex. You can only get out one of these 2 ways. There's no other way out of the apartment complex. They block both exits, and they get in by the dumpster, and they like lock him in, and they're like, you can't leave. And so he like gets out, and he's like ranting and raving about like how my boyfriend is gonna be his husband and like all this weird stuff. So I show up there, and I'm like, what is going on? And they're like, said all this kind of stuff to me. Anyway, the whole thing was just such a mess. And like, I don't know how it was, but like, I couldn't press charges for trespassing, but they could, and they did. They opened his trunk, and he had like Ziploc bags where he had literally like taken like notes that we had written each other and ripped up and like pieced them back together. And he had like stuff of like ours that was like my mom's notes. He had stuff in Ziploc bags in the trunk of his car. It was so spooky scary. It's even, like thinking back on it now, it's like, it freaks me out a little bit more thinking about it now than it really did at the time. It scared me at the time, but even more so now, it kind of freaks me out. And, okay, so anyway, so I think they filed charges for, for trespassing on the property. But then the police were like, you need to get a, oh shoot, now like I just had the word in my head. You know, an order, like where they can't come in so many feet of you. Why can't I think of what that word is called? God, I'm losing it. I know you guys are shouting it at the camera. I literally just had it in my head too. A restraining order. We had to get a restraining order against him. Well, I couldn't do anything because it wasn't like he wasn't coming to me, he was coming towards my boyfriend. So it was like I couldn't like get the restraining order. My boyfriend had to get the restraining order. Well, if he got the restraining order, then he was going to have to let the Marriott know what was going on, and he didn't really want to do that and whatever. So this dude shows up at our apartment again, and I said, you're getting a restraining order. I said, I've had it. Like, this is enough. So he actually talked to the Marriott, and the Marriott supported him 100%. Like, they ended up getting rid of this guy and stuff. And I'll never forget, we went to court, and it was the saddest thing. It was like, I don't know what this guy's obsession was with my boyfriend. I really don't even know to this day. But like, because it was so far past just like, I think you're cute kind of thing. Like, it was obsessive, and it was bizarre. And he was like, I don't know. It's just, the whole thing was so weird. And so when he got to court, we go to court, and it's my boyfriend and I, you know, and we go in this courtroom to talk to this judge, and it's this guy and his wife and like 3 or 4 kids. It's really sad. I don't know how many kids he had. He had a lot of kids, and they were all real little, and his wife didn't speak any English, and she had no idea what was going on, and the whole thing was just really, really sad. And I remember like just sitting there thinking, what is this about? Like, this is just so bizarre, you know? And like, we had to like talk about like, well, I don't think the judge asked me. I don't remember. Maybe he did. I can remember being in court. We went to Noblesville Court, but I don't remember but he asked my boyfriend a lot of questions, and he had to say all this stuff about what had happened, you know, and like him following him, and he had like followed him more than that. It was just like, I don't know, it was so weird. Scary. It was really scary, you know? So there's scary stuff that happens out there all the time, you know? I mean, I know you guys know that. I'm so happy I found my cup. Now if I could just find my Lysol wipes that are back there. It's weird, I hadn't thought about that in a long time. I had another stalker. I don't really care. I don't want to tell the story tonight. I'll tell it some other time because it's getting late. But when Alex and I started dating, we both had stalkers. And I remember this guy would text me. I would literally be out at the bar. First of all, I don't know how this guy ever got my number. And people are always like, change your number, change your number. Change your number, you like have to give it to everybody that you know. That whole change your number thing is such a mess. And we'd be like at the bar, and I like remember like I had a new watch on. Like, this was so freaky to me. We were like on the dance floor, and I had a new watch on. It was like this fossil like kind of watch kind of thing, you know? And I remember he texted me, and he was like, I like your new watch. And I'm like, I couldn't see him anywhere. It was always like really creepy stuff like that. Now, Alex's stalker was a little bit more obvious. Like, he would just come up when we were standing there, and he'd just be like, hi. I'd be like, hi. Alex had like previously gone on a few dates with him, so that wasn't so much a stalker as it was, I think, just like a lingering interest, you know? But like, it was real uncomfortable. I can remember he would like stand there, and he would just like he would come up and he wouldn't talk to me. Like, he would act like he just didn't even see me, and I was standing right there. I wonder what happened to that guy though. Like, I had forgotten about that till I started talking about this other story. The guy that like, I don't know that I necessarily would call it stalking. He did some stuff, like he showed up at my house one time. This was before Alex and I dated, and he was like, I'm downstairs. And this was when I lived in an apartment. It was like, the entrance was on like the ground floor, and like you walked up, like you opened, like it was a private entrance, and you opened the door, and then you walked up the stairs to like the living room. And I remember I was up there, and I was like afraid to go to the top of the stairs, because if I looked down, there was like a window at the top of my door, and I knew I could see out there. And I really didn't know this person, and we had like gone on one date, and like after the date, I kind of was like, yeah, I don't know about all this, you know? And And the thing that was scary kind of was that, and that was probably, because I went on a date with him like right after, like a month or two after my ex and I broke up. Yeah, probably like 2 months after my ex and I broke up. So it would have been like January or February. I mean, this, like, I would hear from him, and then like I wouldn't hear from him for like 6 weeks. And then out of the blue, like I would be somewhere and he would just be like, I mean, it would be the most random thing. Like, I don't know, like, just, you know, it was always like when I was like out, like at a club, but like he would say something to me like, there was something about a parking space one night. I remember we went to this club called the 10 in Indianapolis, and it was always really scary where you parked anyway, because you parked in the back. And like if you walked out by yourself, like it was dead out there at like night, right? And so unless you parked like right by the door, you literally had to walk, and it was like parking lots for apartment complexes. And it was like, there would be nobody out there. And I remember I walked out there to get something from my car. I was with my friend Liz, and I walked out there to get something from my car and walked back in. And like literally I walked back in and I was like 2 minutes in, and he sat, and I got a text from him, and it was like, you could have got a closer parking space. Be careful when you go to walk out to your car. Like, you should be careful when you walk out to your car by yourself. And I was like, what? And like, I didn't want to get anybody into trouble, but like, it really scared me. I didn't like it. You know, it made me very, very nervous. So, yeah. I am apprehensive of that stuff. I know it sounds crazy, but I am apprehensive of that kind of stuff. But other than that, I don't think I've had any other crazy kind of stories. I actually was like, well, it would have been when I was moving out of my apartment into the condo, I found the paperwork on that restraining order, and we had never like refiled it because he and I had broken up. And I can remember at the time, like I think it's good for like 18 months or something like that. And I can remember like, you have to go back to court to like refile it. You can't just like, I think. I remember it was like some ordeal. And it's expensive too. It's not like free. Like you have to like pay money to do it, you know? And so it wasn't a lot though. I remember it wasn't like, you know, tons. But I remember I called him and I said, like, do you want to refile this restraining order because I have the paperwork? Not like when I was moving in here. Like this was like way back when. And he was like, no, but can you just hold on to that for me? I was like, yeah. I still have his box set of like the Doors albums and some other music of his. We don't ever talk anymore. I mean, every once in a while, he lives in Florida, so when Alex and I go to Miami, Alex knew him too. It's funny, because Alex knew him for like 2 or 3 years, and never knew that he knew him as a DJ. He didn't know that he had dated me. And so when Alex and I started dating, Alex is like, you know, like, would I know anybody that you dated? And I was like, maybe, you know, and he was like, oh my God, you dated him? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, for how long? And it was like 5 years. I was like, we lived together. He was like, what? And I was like, yeah, we lived together for 5 years. I've been like, you know, ever since I've been sober, I've been really blessed. I've been with really good people, you know, like really just good guys. My first 2 boyfriends, it didn't work, you know, but they were good people. They weren't, you know, we had a lot of really great times with them, and I don't regret those relationships. And I'm so happy that I don't, you know, like it makes me sad when I talk to people and they're like, I wish I had never, you know, met him or her. I wish I never had that relationship. And I know that there are some severe situations, and I'm not talking about that, but like, you know, we had difficult times, but like, I would never have traded in any of those years for anything. Like, I had some great times with both of my exes, you know, and especially my last ex. I mean, we were really close. I mean, in all honesty, probably the last couple of years, we were more just like best friends than anything else. And so that's why I think it was so hard when we broke up, because I felt like I was losing. I did lose my best friend, you know, other than Tanya, but like he and I were so close. But I wanted the romance. I wanted the passion of a relationship. And, like with Alex, it hasn't been 100% easy, but like I have the passion, I have the romance, I have the excitement of going and traveling and doing this and doing that. And at the same time, I have like the staying at home and, watching movies and TV shows and brunch on Sunday and raising dogs. And, so it's kind of the best of both worlds. It hasn't been easy. I mean, it's been tough. We've had, a lot of issues, which thank God we went to marriage counseling. I mean, we would probably right now have another marriage counselor if this stuff hadn't started. Right before all of this, we had talked about things were going so good that we wanted to get another marriage counselor just to kind of like, go in and like throw stuff off of them every other week or something like that, because we just so much believe in marriage counseling. And we probably will do that, once we can like get out and start going to things again. And I would, right now, I know people are like Skype sessioning stuff, but I don't really want to start seeing somebody that way as a marriage counselor, you know what I mean? Like, I would rather go into somebody's office and start it that way. But if you've ever, I've talked about marriage counseling on here tons. If you've ever thought about going to marriage counseling and you haven't made the move yet, really invest in it. Invest in your marriage. Invest in your relationship. No marriage is easy. No relationship is easy. They're all so difficult, but they're so valuable when you really put the time and the energy into them. And, the payback of what you get is like 100-fold. It really is. And they're still not easy. It's like, we've learned so many things, and then I'll sit there and I'll, like, as I'm saying something, be like, I can hear my counselor, my past counselor in my head, the lesson that he would teach us or whatever, and I can, like, as I'm saying something that I know that I shouldn't be, I'm like, and then as soon as it comes out of my mouth, I'm like, babe, like, I shouldn't, but, and he does the same thing, we've talked about it, but, like, I think, like, this time together has been a really good test for us, and I'm sure other couples feel the same way. Like, I really, really thought that we would have a lot more tension than we have. Like, the first week was kind of tough, and it was really just because, this is my work environment. So, I get up at my own pace. I don't get up at 4 and 2 like I do. I get up at 11 or 12 or 10, I've got to get back on that schedule. But not for the next week or two. Like, I'm good for the next week or two. I'm kind of enjoying it right now. But, the first, like, week, he was wanting to do, like, yoga and all these cleaning projects, and I'm like, okay, I have kind of a schedule of how I do things, and like that hasn't changed, just because you're home all of a sudden. And then, like, we kind of like got each other's schedule and groove, and I think it was also, I think, like, one of the most valuable things has been like not judging each other, like, I don't sit with my friends and talk on the phone for 4 hours. Like, he was on the phone for 4 hours tonight, like, that's a long, and he loves that. He loves sitting there FaceTiming her, and, they're talking, their families are close too, and stuff like that. So they're talking about all kinds of stuff, and, whatever, and he really enjoys that, but, like, I don't even know that I could talk to Tanya for 4 hours, I don't know that I could talk to Tanya for 2 hours straight, just looking at each other, you know what I mean? So, it is what it is. Like, I guess I am kind of judging him, but, like, I wouldn't to his face. Like, I'm not like, this is stupid, why are you talking to her for 4 hours? I'm like, hey, how are you doing? Have fun, you know what I mean? Because I don't think it's stupid. I think it's what he enjoys. Just because it's not what I enjoy doesn't mean that, anything. And he doesn't, like, really, like, judge too much, like, me sleeping in or going to bed late and whatever. I think the first week, there was a little bit of that from both sides of us, where he was, like, getting up and doing yoga and all this kind of stuff and, wanting to do all these projects, but that kind of died real quick. So, I don't know how it would be if he was still doing yoga twice a day and, like, doing cleaning, oh, I just put the windshield wipers on, cleaning projects every day. But no, like, we've both, like, I think, learned to kind of respect each other's space and time, and I think that's real important, I've been, Tanya tonight, she said, I am so tired of seeing these rich celebrities complaining about being stuck at home while they have pools to swim in. They just lay out. I mean, me too. If I didn't A, have to worry about money, and B, it was 80 or 90 degrees outside and I could be next to a pool all day long just listening to audiobooks, not doing a damn thing, but worried about what I was going to have for dinner. Can you even imagine? I could live that life. I could live that life in and out of lockdown. True story. You want to talk about a fairy tale? And I love when I say that to people. People are always like, you would get so bored. No, I totally wouldn't. No, I really wouldn't. I think maybe back in the day I would have got bored, you know, but like, I don't think I would today. I really don't. To just, you know, have some beautiful like house with a pool and, you know, just, I don't know, make sandwiches. And I was thinking about that today. I was like, if I didn't feel so rushed when I was in the grocery store, like I would get like tomatoes, and I don't even love tomatoes on sandwiches, but I started thinking about this today. I was like, I'll get tomatoes and sprouts, you know, and I would make this cheese sandwich, but I would put like all these veggies on it. And, cause I love my cheese sandwiches. I don't know why, but I do. And, you know, it was like, I'd make these huge like veggie sandwiches and, kind of like the Veggie Club from Jimmy John's, but like my own version of it. And I was like, you know, I would make these huge like sandwiches, and if I had all that stuff, that's, I mean, I could just imagine myself like in that house in Arizona. Oh my God, if I had that house right now, are you kidding me? Get up every day and just go and lay out by the pool and call Mel and be like, hey gal, on the way home, can you drop off some Del Taco tacos 10 feet away though in the driveway? Thank you. Oh God. She'd probably be like, go get them yourself. But anyway, no, I would love it, you know? Everybody's talking like they're going to open the pools. Like I was talking to everybody and they're like, oh, the pools will be open. The pools will be open. How are you going to have pools open with splashing kids and people laying 2 feet apart from each other? Like at hotels, like how would you have, I mean, at those like Las Vegas hotels, like the chairs are literally 2 feet apart from each other. You know, how are you going to do that? And like have beaches open? And I mean, I don't know, like, is anybody talking about how we're going to get back into this world that we had before without like everybody being afraid that they're going to get sick? And my thing that I absolutely hate, and some people very, very close to me keep on saying this, like, not Alex, but, you know, friends of mine, not Tanya either, but I've had friends of mine be like, every time I talk to them, they're like, well, we're all going to get it at some point. I'm like, don't say that. Like, please don't say that. Like, when I feel like everybody that I know is doing what they need to do to, like, everybody around my, you know, little circle. But who knows? You know, even you could do everything that you wanted to do to protect yourself and go to the grocery store, and, you know, something could still happen. So, I don't know. I think that they also probably, I'm wondering if, well, I don't want to speculate. I'm not going to speculate about reopening stuff. My mask. It's been in my front seat now forever. I actually ordered these masks online. They're like the ones that are like black. You know, you see them like on Instagram and stuff. I ordered like 5 of them, and I got like 2 for like each of us so that we could like use it, clean it, use it, clean it. And then I got 1 for Sarah. And like I ordered them like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they're still not here yet. And they said at the time that they were available, and then I got this thing in the mail that said that like they were on their way. It said like you could track it. Like, I don't understand this tracking thing that you're supposed to do. Let's go in here and read a couple. Play your music loud, live out loud, God bless you, you are perfect, Blue Heart, said Sue. Thank you, Sue. Not perfect, not yet. Stephanie said, you sound so sincere at the end with all the affirmations. I love you. It almost makes me cry. I love you. I love you too, gal. Miss you. I don't understand that comment, but the comment's moving. The House of ASMR said, the Circus of Books used to be at the end of my street in Silver Lake, Los Angeles. Excellent history of a bookshop. Those were, okay, so they had 2 different stores. That was their second store that made more money, they said in the thing. Annette said, if you want to try out Animal Crossing, you can download it for free on your iPad. Oh my God, I didn't know that. I'm so gonna do that. Megan said, drinking is up 55%. Is that true? I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, Marcia said, I remember that movie, Lisa, I think. Did they live in some apartments or condos? Yep. I'm picturing the guy with dark hair, maybe a small ponytail. I'm definitely going to look it up. I love that movie. Yes, that's totally it. It was so good. It was so good. Heather said, one more, I love you too, Peter. Aw. Why don't you lay me down in the tall grass and let me do my stuff? I've been singing secondhand news all day today. Okay. Fiona said, hey Peter, you made me really want to try onion dip, but it doesn't seem to exist in the UK. When I Google it, it finds onion powder. Ew, we'll stick to onion hummus. However, did find some peanut butter pretzels on Amazon. Okay, I think that there's like, get online and look up recipe for onion dip. I think there's real basic ways. Like, I think there's if you get like a Lipton onion soup that comes in like a box, I think it has a dip recipe on it that you use the soup with like sour cream and that's it. I think it's super, super easy. So, try that. Or Google it. Juliana said thrift books. Yes, and another good one is Better World Books. That's where I've gotten most of my Thich Nhat Hanh books. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm probably butchering it. But yeah, thank you for that one. Better World Books. All right, you guys, listen, I'm gonna get off here now. I said I wasn't gonna vlog for very long tonight. Did I say that? Well, that's what I thought when I got on here. Oh, wait, listen, I got a couple more comments as I started reading this, so hold on. So, Solon Girl said, me right now and your mom at 50 have basically the same fashion style. I'm also short and big-chested, so I can relate to your stories about her. Hoping I find my confidence when I'm her age. And Diana put a bunch of blue hearts. Hey, Diana. Magic Me said, Peter, people that you could just sit and listen to talk for hours, you know what I mean? That's what we're here for. Aww. And Inchberries said, always here till the end, just in case we get one more. I love you. You're so sweet. Anyway, all right, listen, you guys, I'm going to get off here. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching the vlog. I really, really appreciate it. If you could give me a big thumbs up, it would mean the world to me. And make sure that you're still subscribed to all of my channels. I would really appreciate that as well. Thank you for watching the vlog. And thank you for allowing me to have a space to come and just talk every night. And this is so good for me. It is so healthy for me going through all this. Like, this is my, like, thread of normalcy, and I love it. So thank you. What is tomorrow, Friday? Oh my God, thank God it's Friday. I'll wait till tomorrow to sing that. I hope you are having an amazing Friday, unless you have other plans. But like I always say, don't have other plans. Make the most of your day. Do something fun today. Do something exciting. As exciting as it possibly can. Start something new. New show or book or whatever. If you're looking for a new book, Grady Hendrix, the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires is fantastic. Try that. or My Best Friend's Exorcism, which was his previous book. But he's written well, actually, he had a book in between that. So anyway, try that. And do something that will make yourself proud when you look back on it tomorrow, or the next day, or next week, or 10 years from now, or a year from now, or 60 years, or 69 years from now. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Make sure that you look at yourself in the mirror every single day and you say to yourself, I love you, you're valuable, you are important, you matter, you are a good person, and good things are coming your way, good opportunities are coming your way. Look in the mirror every single night and say to yourself, tomorrow is going to be an amazing day, full of opportunity and good things, and I'm going to be happy, joyous, and free all day long. And when you wake up the next day, say to yourself first thing in the morning, today is going to be an amazing day. I'm going to be happy, joyous, and free all day long today. And if you're not, you can start your day over whenever you want. You can just go, you know what? I'm going to go in the room, take a breather for 5, and I'm going to start my day over. You can do that whenever you want. And yeah, but do your daily affirmations every day. They really do help, as well as a gratitude list. I hope you guys are keeping up with your gratitude list because it makes a huge difference. Most importantly, make sure that you reach out to somebody, just one person and say, hey, I was thinking of you, I wanted to let you know I love you, and I hope you're doing okay during this time. And also practice random acts of kindness, but don't tell anyone. Most importantly, don't tell anyone. Just do it to put good out there in the world because it makes us feel good, you know, to put good out there in the world. Plus, it's doing good deeds to actually put good out there in the world. And I believe that good builds good builds good. So, you know, then it's like all of a sudden, you know, if I smile at you and you smile at them and they smile at somebody else, the whole world's smiling, I'd like to think. So, I mean, I really would like to think of it that way. But anyway, there are some days that I don't want to smile, so I need someone to smile at me, you know, and that's how it works. So, anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I will see you tomorrow. And, yeah, have a great day. I love you, and I will see you then. Bye. Love ya! And since so many people mentioned it, I had to give you one more I love you. Good night. Bye. Love ya!